Welcome to the Run It Back podcast, where we run back everything from the 80s and 90s. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah.
And today we're running back heavyweights from 1995. It's a new year. Everybody's trying to lose weight, do something to better themselves. So why not watch this movie? Had you seen it before?
I'm sure I saw it when I was like a little kid. I'm sure I did. I had like a little brother and sister, and we watched all the Disney movies and crap. But I didn't really remember it until you made me watch it. It's been a bit ago.
A bit ago?
Yeah, like it wasn't fairly recently, but it wasn't at the beginning of our relationship, so it was a bit ago.
That could have been at any point in time in history.
I know, it could have been in the last 20 years. But you made me watch it for the first time that I actually remember it. But you've always really liked it, right?
I always liked it.
Have you identified with it as a chunky little boy?
Yeah, he's like not...
He's not
athletic or any...
He's not athletic.
Thing at all. Like, the movie opens up, it's the last day of school, and everybody goes fucking nuts.
Right, which did, like...
That would not have happened.
It happened in a lot of, like, TV shows and movies.
But that doesn't happen in real life.
Where it was the last day of school, and everybody went fucking nuts and threw their books and papers, and, like... It really set up a unrealistic precedent in your head, right?
Yeah, like the janitors and the groundskeepers, they're definitely pissed that those kids are just chucking books and...
Yeah. The last day of school was never as exciting as the movies told me it would be.
And old Jerry, our main character here, misses his bus because he's talking to his friends. And they kind of show like a montage of him walking home, and he passes a baseball field, and foul ball comes out, lands in front of him. He throws it back like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And he can't get it over the fence.
The once he even walks up to the fence and just tries to pop it over and fails.
So he's just unathletic.
Well, not everybody has to be an athlete.
But I mean, for a kid to be that unathletic, they just don't really play. Because you have to have some natural ability, but you have to use it. Like, you have to have friends that play games, something.
Maybe he liked board games, or he was one of the Stranger Things kids and was into, like, D&D. You don't know this kid's life.
Those kids look pretty athletic. Riding their bikes.
Riding their bikes is where that shit ends.
But Jerry comes home. Finally makes it home. He sees there's a weird car in the garage. Well, everybody's home.
We really need to talk about Jerry's dad here.
Uncle Phil Light.
No.
Or Dr. Phil Light?
Yes! He's Jeffrey Tambor, but, like, I knew that going in, but it took concentration to make him not be Dr. Phil. I was like, holy shit, like, that's fucking Dr. Phil. Was he an actor before he did this psychology shit? And then I was like, no, the age isn't right. And I was like, dude, that's fucking Dr. Phil. And I was like, no, you know who that is. I was like, fucking Dr. Phil, that's who it is. It's so spot on. Like, I know Dr. Phil wasn't a thing when this came out, but if it had been, I would be like, dude, they fucking ripped off Dr. Phil.
Yeah, he's definitely Dr. Phil Light.
It is Light's ass. He's Dr. Phil exactly.
But Jerry is a kid true to this era. He gets home and he's like, why is everybody here? Like, he expected to come home
to an empty house. Yeah.
Did they ever say how old he was?
11.
So he's 11. He was going to come home to an empty house, hang out, probably get some food, play some video games. That people riot over that now.
Oh yeah, like if our 11-year-old nephew came home and was all alone, he would lose his mind.
But people in general, they're like, you left an 11-year-old home?
Oh God, I was alone all the time, right?
I woke myself up for school, came
Ditto.
home.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's all like, well, I'm out of here. And then they're like, no, you need to come back here. And they introduce him to Tim.
I don't think that was his name.
No, that's not Tim at all, is it?
They introduce him to, like, this camp salesman. But they're doing this very intervention style.
Yeah.
Like, ambush, everybody's there, there's this stranger there. Like, this does not seem like the best way to get somebody to agree to go anywhere. Especially somewhere they don't want to go. Like, you needed to have been, like, introducing this kid to this months in advance. Like, planting seeds. Making it seem like it was their idea. But they needed to be, like, planting these seeds
earlier.
Not like on his last day of school. Supposed to be a great day.
He had plans. He was going to hang out.
He did. He had big plans of hanging out.
But he's watching the video and they show the blob, which looks awesome.
Which is
the
like an airbag that throws you into the lake.
If anybody doesn't know what that is, you lay on one side. Somebody jumps off a ladder or platform, dock, something, onto the other side and launches you in the air. Looks fun.
But then the go-karts really got him.
The go-karts really sold him. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he has been straight catfished.
And I was trying to watch it because I know I've seen the movie a lot of times. I was trying to watch the video. It's kind of it wasn't all little fat kids. Like, some of them were taller, so it didn't make it look like, wait a minute, why are all these people this big?
Until the end, when they say...
Until the end, or like...
It's a great way to lose weight.
Yeah, and he's like, you're sending me to fat camp? Fuck you.
Yeah, which... Fat camp was also a big premise in the 80s and 90s. Is fat camp a real thing?
This is the only movie that I've...
No. There were TV shows where there was like an episode where they sent somebody to fat camp. There were like references to it. Is fat camp a thing?
If that was real fat camp, other than how it turned out in this movie, like if...
you signed up?
I'll go this summer.
I'll be goddamn. Camp Shane. Weight loss camp since 1968. And they're on jet skis and playing with that like rainbow circle thing.
What rainbow circle thing?
You know, like you played with in gym.
I never liked that.
Oh my god, what? Like you threw it up in the air and you cut all the air under it and you sat on it. It was super cool when you were little.
Yeah, like second grade.
Yeah, little.
Those look like way bigger kids.
Featured on Dr. Phil, it all came full circle. The original longest running and most beloved weight loss program in the world. Camp Shane, where weight loss is just the beginning.
Shane or shame?
Shane, like the name. We help change campers' lives by giving them the skills they need to eat healthy, stay fit, and be well, all while making lifelong friends and having a blast. Campers lose an average of 10 to 15 pounds in 3 weeks, 20 to 25 pounds in 6 weeks, and 30 to 35 pounds in 9 weeks. Campers who are very overweight typically experience greater weight loss. Oh God, and then it has before and after pictures of little fat kids in their bathing suits. That doesn't seem...
That seems weird.
Okay. Nobody Google that. Okay.
So he's like, I'm not going, and the next second is a plane taking off.
By
sent him by himself. Like, you don't control us. We're your parents. You're gonna do what you're told.
Yeah, he is big mad on the plane.
Yeah.
Woo!
But then Roy, who's Kenan Thompson, rolls up. He's like, "Hey, fat kid, you going to fat camp?"
Why would you say that? No,
because you're fat.
So are you? It's like, yeah, that's why I'm going to fat camp.
Is this your dad? Why would you think that? Because he's fat.
Yeah. Oh, little baby Kenan. But he says you're going to love it. It's great. This is like, he's like, whatever. He's been there a bunch. But he's still fat. You know this cost a lot to ship them somewhere else in the world to go to this fat camp. So, like, these people's parents are paying year after year after year to send them to this fat camp that doesn't seem to have any actual results.
I mean, it could, but if you notice, all the kids that didn't lose weight, you gotta think, all those kids that they show that didn't are the chipmunks. Mm-hmm. And the chipmunks stay ready. Like when Jerry introduced himself, or when Jerry gets introduced to the chipmunks, and he's talking to Josh, and he's like, "Hey, I snuck in some Oreos." And Josh lets out the call that they need to download. They had all the snacks, all the candies, pepperoni, salami.
Yeah.
They had it all.
How much money do you think these kids have? Do you think they've been saving all that all year? Or in one big swoop? Like, their parents have to be suspicious if they just buy it all right then.
They're probably saving.
Like, they had a ton of shit.
Yeah, these kids are probably a little well off anyway.
Oh, yeah,
to
they're
be
definitely well
sent
off.
to this camp.
Yeah. That you have to fly to. Nobody's fucking going to a summer camp you gotta fly to. Like, he picks everybody but one kid up at the fucking airport.
He picked a lot of them up at the airport, yeah.
Yeah. But between the plane with Roy and the junk food, you get to Camp Pope. Well, you meet Pat, who picks them up on the bus.
He's been there the longest. He was also originally a camper.
A camper, yeah.
Then
Didn't work for him either.
You meet Tim, who's been there for 4 years.
Yeah, but used to be fat, but now is tiny, who is Paul Feig.
So they make...
Am I saying that right?
I don't know. So they make fun of him because he lost weight.
Right, and he's wearing a Panthers jersey that's, like, cut off.
Yeah.
It was filmed in
North Carolina.
But they gave them a bunch of Panthers jerseys to wear. That was the only time I noticed one, but apparently it's all throughout the film because that was the first year the Carolina Panthers were a team. You also meet Julie, who is the nurse that Pat is instantly taken with but can't seem to actually talk to.
Yeah.
So that takes us to stashing all the junk food.
Stashing all the junk food. And then the grossest part is the English kid, I can't remember, Nicholas, had snuck in a bunch of stuff taped to him, but I guess it busted.
He said it was too hot on that bus, so it all melted.
It all melted, and one kid walks over, takes his hand, and just swipes across his belly, through his belly button, and gets all this melted chocolate and goes, "This is not sanitary," and then licks it.
But then he yells out, "Come taste England, everybody," and they just pounce, like, everybody pounces on this little kid, and they're on top of him just doing fucking body shots at chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, that English chocolate is the best chocolate.
Yes.
Like,
agreed.
The best chocolate.
Anybody who doesn't agree
is wrong.
Needs to get a Hershey bar, which I always liked before.
No, it's garbage.
It is. And then you can even get the cheapest of, like, Cadbury's.
Yeah.
Get a milk chocolate Cadbury's bar and a Hershey bar. Eat a piece of the milk chocolate Cadbury's bar, and then you eat the Hershey bar, and you feel like you're eating wax.
Oh, it's so bitter.
Like,
oh, it's awful.
Like, it's not even bitter. It's just, it doesn't taste as good.
It's bad. I don't know what we do to our chocolate, but England's where it's at.
Yeah. So, then you get to meet the owners of the camp, the Bushkins.
Right.
And they're announcing that they no longer own the camp.
Well, all the kids and counselors seem to really love them and how great they are. And they're like, they get us something awesome every year. Last year they got us the Blob. This year I think they're getting us jet skis. They're so great. So in walks, like, Ben Stiller's real life parents.
No, just his dad.
It's his dad and his mom. Those are his parents.
Does she not go by?
No.
Oh.
No.
I kind of wondered why.
Oh.
Like, when you read through the credits, because I remember thinking that was his parents. But then when I Googled to find the movie, I saw that name and I was like, I didn't think that was true. Right.
Yeah, those are his parents. And they're, like, crying and talking about how they had to declare bankruptcy and the camp's not theirs anymore. And don't let anybody sign your checks, kids.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So then...
I kind of think they're, like, movie son that doesn't actually exist that I'm making up right now fucked him over. I think he stole the checks. I mean, it could have been an accountant, but...
Yeah. So they introduce the new owner, Tony Perkis, who comes in with his own camera crew, his own set of staff counselors. He's
like a riff on motivational speaker / televangelist / sleazy marketer, because he is trying to make a late night infomercial.
But he is the motivational asshole.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Like, he's got Tony Robbins' energy, but he's a douchebag.
No, he doesn't even have Tony Robbins' energy. He matches Tony Robbins' energy level.
Right.
But it's not Tony Robbins' energy.
Well,
it's
that's
completely
what I'm saying. It's his energy, like his energy level. But he's a tiny bit racist, right? Like, he's looking around the room and he's like, he looks at Jerry and he's like, you'll be the next CEO. And he looks at the English kid and is like, you'll be the next president of the United States, which he can't. But then he looks at Keenan, what's his name? Roy? And was like, or the next famous rap artist. And I was like, damn, why you gotta play him like that? Why can't he be little Barack Obama? Why can't he be the next president?
I don't even think people thought about that at the time. I mean, many people thought about it.
He looked at that little black kid. He was like, you could be a famous rapper. Yeah. And this kid could be president. And this kid could be a CEO.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Hangout. That's not going to be CEO.
He could be CEO hanging out.
So then he goes into... Well, Motivational Asshole runs out, and his camera crew goes with him. And they open up on the first morning, and they're doing those slide exercise boards. I was trying to find the name of it.
His thing is the Perka system. He's going to make the Perka system infomercial. We need to introduce Lars here.
Let's get in there. Lars is from somewhere
far away
in or around Germany.
He says he's from far away, but yeah, he German as fuck.
Lars is an asshole.
Oh, he's horrible.
So you got this whole motivational thing, and he's waking these kids up through the PA system through the camp.
Right.
At God knows what time, because there ain't nobody awake. Keenan's character Roy's like, oh my, the music's playing. He's like, oh my God, we died. I'm in heaven.
But yeah, they're doing the little, I don't know what they are.
All I could find was slide boards.
But they're slick. It looks like they're ice skating, but it's just side to side. All of theirs is flat, like Tony's and
they're on a platform.
Theirs is flat, but all the kids are sloped downhill.
Yeah, they're on a wooden platform doing this, trying to teach these kids.
Right.
And these kids are on uneven ground.
Yeah, so they're just falling. Like, I don't know how these kids haven't broken ankle.
But you meet Lars, and Lars takes over the chipmunk cabin because presumably they have a reputation. So he kicks Jerry out of there.
No, Pat.
He kicks Pat.
But
Pat and Jerry look dead on.
Oh, yeah. Like, Jerry is 100% little Pat. And Pat sees himself in him. That's why they have all the heart-to-hearts. And I believe that Jerry is not a future CEO so much as a future fat counselor.
Yep.
Like, it is just cylindrical.
So they have what I call the metrics montage. They're measuring, pinching people's fat. They get on the scales.
Well, they make them weigh in front of each other and then, like, announce it and how much they weigh, how much they need to lose. And then he calls the one kid the fattest kid in camp in front of everybody.
But the other camera's like, yeah!
Yeah, but he's also 1.5 feet taller than everybody.
Yeah.
Like, at the beginning, he's not one of the kids that gets picked up at the airport. He's just standing there as the bus rolls in. Yeah. I thought he was a counselor. Like, he's fucking huge. He's fucking as tall as a dad.
And his nose bleeds through the whole movie.
Are you sure?
Yeah. His nose bleeds here. His nose bleeds during the baseball game. His nose bleeds when they sneak into Tony's quarters. So they take pictures for before and after photos. They're videotaping all this too. So Jerry weighs in at 141 pounds. His weight loss goal is 17 pounds. They measure and use calipers on every part of everybody's body.
Mm-hmm. Every part. Like, they pinched that one kid's, like, cheek. Like, his face cheek.
So
So the next morning, his motivational wake-up announcement is about liposuction.
What was it?
A necessity or an
obsession.
obsession. Yeah.
But one of the parts of the movies that always stuck out with me involves Lars when all the kids swim in the lake, and he's shooting a shot with Julie. He says he has a sciatic. Yeah, he's missing. So he wants a deep tissue massage, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll pencil you in." And she's like, "Shouldn't you be watching the kids because they're all swimming in this lake?" And he has the body system. And she's like, "What? Body?" And he's like, "Yeah, body." And so he turns around, he's like, "Watch this." So he yells out, "Body!" And everybody grabs their buddy and yells buddy back to him.
He does it a lot.
I think that's one that I repeat a lot.
Yeah, I don't always know what you're talking about when you do it.
But now you did.
Yeah. But he does it a lot. Like, he is very obsessive about the buddies.
Yeah. So they are going to... Tony has set them up to play softball against Camp MVP.
Which is as douchey as it sounds.
Yeah, it's a sports camp for...
The gifted.
Mostly, I guess, baseball kids. That's what it seemed like. But what I thought was weird was when this team arrives to their camp, why didn't they go to theirs? Because they probably have better facilities. This team arrives, they're wearing, the baseball shirts and shorts.
Right.
Coach is wearing a polo with the Camp MVP logo and full-on baseball pants.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird.
It's a hodgepodge. But they didn't go to their camp because, you don't want to mess with the locale.
But there's an event at the end, I guess the end of the summer every year, the Apache Relay. And he wants to get the kids started, I guess, competing so they can win
in
the Apache Relay.
Pat tells them this isn't going to make them any better at sports. And he says, I'm not trying to make them better at sports, I'm trying to...
teach them about life.
Right.
He thinks that if they...
He's basically trying to embarrass everybody.
Yeah, he's trying to break them down so he can build them up. But the problem with that is he's not qualified.
Was he ever going to build them up?
He was supposed to.
I think he was just planning on breaking them down. I don't think his system has any building them up parts.
So they play this horrible softball game. Get waxed. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody's going to the nurse. They got bruises, scrapes, nosebleeds.
Jerry gets hit with the ball, and the other, Camp MVP's coach is pissed. It's like, well, there goes your
perfect game.
Your perfect game.
And he gets mad that Jerry's taking too long to get to the base. Open up the game.
Yeah, it's wild.
So then after this, it shows Tony finds the Chipmunk cabin stash.
Go searching the...
And he finds a little bit of the stash.
He finds a tiny bit. They've hollowed out the bedposts.
Yeah.
And have caps on them, and they've stuck a bunch of stuff
Anywhere
down in the post.
There's a hole or a gap, there's candy and snacks.
He was finding all of those until he was tapping and seeing that they were hollow and then opening them up and pulling all that out. But then some little snitch runs in.
He was he was hired as one of the Perkins System counselors. And he's like, hey, I used to be a chipmunk. Let me show you what's up. And he moves this trunk that covers up a slot in the floor, and this thing is just filled with candy, and he takes it all.
Yeah. And then Tony was like, I'm not a bad guy or whatever, and very creepily asks Roy for a hug, and won't seemingly take no for an answer. He makes this kid hug him, and I think it was just ulterior motive to frisk him because he finds Pez in his sock.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Who keeps a Pez dispenser in their sock?
Man, it's like his backup gun.
I guess.
But he unloads the Pez dispenser and it sounds like he's unloading like a gun clip. And then the Pez hit the floor and it's very metallic, like sounds like bullets. I just thought those were funny. But Tony starts taking it out on Jerry. I think he thinks he's the weak link.
He sees Jerry, he's like, I know it wasn't you that did it.
Right.
But I bet you know who did hide all this candy. These people aren't helping you, they're hurting you. And Jerry, everybody's kind of looking at Jerry like, is he going to tell? Is he going to tell? I don't think he was ever going to tell. But Josh kind of steps in and saves Jerry from all this. And he's like, hey, I'll tell you.
He's like, I know who it belongs to. It belongs to Seymour Butts. And Tony says, who's Seymour Butts? He was like, nobody's seen more butts than you. Which was just like a very classic 90s joke.
Hey, but what was he burned him again when Tony was on the way out.
He says something about way to play with a guy's emotion, way to be mean to a guy, something. And he was like, I didn't know I was messing with a guy.
Oh, I didn't know I was messing with a man. That's what he said. But so that gets Josh booted in the middle of the night because everybody wakes up, his bed's folded up.
Mm-hmm.
The mattress is folded in half and all his bed stuff's folded up. So he's gone. And then everybody just starts spewing rumors of all this stuff that's not true.
Well, they just announced over the PA the next morning that he is no longer with us. Yeah. His bunk is available. And I was like, damn.
So then it shows a little bit of the kids kind of going through all this Perkins system crap. And Jerry writes a letter to his grandma. And in his letter, he's like, they say war is hell. Those people have never been to fat camp.
Yeah. And it kind of has, while he's writing the letter, like a little montage of things that are happening. They cancel lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever meal it happens to be closer to. And it shows Tony laying on the bed of nails and getting the block of ice put on top of him and broke. Like, ugh.
The 18th level of the Perkins system.
Mm-hmm.
They would all be doing that by Labor Day.
Yeah, I think's not.
But did you see Jerry's t-shirt as he's writing the letter? Like every time they cut back to him between what he's writing and what they show you?
No.
It's a Fire Marshal Bill shirt.
Mm.
Do you remember Fire Marshal Bill?
Mm-hmm. From
In Living Color? I just thought that was funny.
And at the end of this little montage, they're talking about how hungry they are and there's no food and they're just chasing a cow with like bats and rockets and like baton, like whatever they can get a hold of.
So then to further embarrass the kids, Tony Perkins has set up a dance with another camp. It's just all girls. And I don't know exactly what their camp was. It was Camp Magnolia, but I don't know what they
It was just girls.
did. So, do only fat boys get sent to fat camp?
Oh, like, do you mean, are there fat camps for girls?
Yeah, I mean other than middle school.
Camp Shane
Yo, that is a real close name to be, like Camp Shame.
Yeah, Camp Shane did feature before and after pictures of little girls, which is where I got creeped out and got off of there immediately.
That is weird.
It is before and after pictures of like a 10-year-old girl not a bikini, but in a bathing suit, and I was like, oh, I feel uncomfortable.
So that was when I noticed that why aren't there any girls in this?
I imagine that would be entirely too traumatic for a 11-year-old girl's parents to call her fat and send her to fat camp. I don't think that's something a girl mentally comes back from. Because regardless of how fat or skinny we are, we're constantly told we're fat and ugly and not good enough and not pretty enough and not smart enough. Especially in middle school. So especially at that age, when like the bullies and all these people are saying it, like, we don't need to hear it from mom and dad too.
So he set this dance up because he knew that he basically knew those kids wouldn't have the self-confidence to go dance with these girls. So
Right.
it's one side of the room is girls, one side is guys. The counselors for Camp Hope,
The OG counselors.
and Nurse Julie are like looking around like this is crap. Like,
Yeah.
so finally Tim decides he's just going to get in the middle, start dancing. Everybody else will kind of loosen up a little bit, whatever.
Well, before that, Pat went over to talk to Julie, and she asked him if he wanted to dance, and he's like, "Oh, no, I can't. I gotta sprain something," and just walked away.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of these little kids. Like, he's an adult, but he is one of these little kids.
Yeah. So that's awkward.
So Tim starts busting a move.
Yeah.
And then Pat joins in, and then Julie joins in, and then all the guys join in, and finally all the little girls start dancing too. And they get about halfway through one song.
As soon as they were having fun and
Yeah.
all that, then
About halfway through a song when old Tony comes in, blowing the whistle, turning on the lights, breaking it up.
so that's where you kind of know Tony doesn't have any idea what he's doing. He's just full on.
A dick.
He's a dick, but he's full on. He's turned dictator because it didn't work out the way he planned it, so it was canceled. I would argue that if he let that night go through, more of those little fat boys get motivated to lose a little weight. Because Pugsley over here is just making out with some chick.
It's not Pugsley. He just looks like he just has the hair. Because I googled it, it's not him.
It's not him?
No.
Alright, Pugsley 2.0
Mm-hmm.
is just making out with this girl.
Yeah.
I don't know. The counselors didn't say anything.
Like, 2 seconds into this song.
I guess making out's a strong word. They like start to kiss, but then the camera goes away. It's not like a peck.
Right.
Like they were
but
just
it's more than a
doing
pet.
it. Yeah.
But then even as the girls are walking out, they're like, "Oh, he was nice. I was just getting to know him. That was fine." Like,
Yeah. So I would argue that would. Are you sure that kid is him?
I'm sure. Also,
He looks dead
just
on like him.
while we're here, his name is Joseph Wayne Miller, and rest in peace to him.
That little kid?
Yeah,
Man.
he died in 2018.
What did he die from?
Sleep apnea. He died in his sleep. He has sleep apnea. They assume that was it. Are you upset right now because he would have 100% been our age? He was born in 1981.
I wonder if that, like, was he still overweight?
I believe he was still large and in charge.
That makes me want to just stop eating now. I mean, I don't have sleep apnea.
Yeah.
But damn.
You don't have diagnosed sleep apnea. You snore like a motherfucker.
So do you.
Just when I'm sick.
Just all the time.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like every time that I roll over and just kind of nudge you accidentally.
No, you're just
Yeah.
hearing yourself.
No. It's definitely you. Like when Moxie raises her head up, it's like, hey, yo, can you get your girl here?
Moxie has no room to talk about anybody's snoring.
Where were we at? So I would argue that letting this dance go through and letting these kids have a little bit of fun, their early pubescent age, the hormones are kicking in. A lot of them would be motivated to lose weight, to impress the opposite sex.
Sexual activity burns a lot of calories.
Or the same sex, whatever. Like, but Tony sees everybody's having fun. It wasn't his plan, so he's like, fuck this shit. You kids are going to bed.
Shut it down. Put up the fruit trays.
Yeah. The insects will be out.
Yeah.
Can we talk about his hair? Like, it's not a mullet, but it is a mullet.
It's the most 80s shit I've ever seen.
It is real weird.
It's very feathered.
Maybe I should have had my hair cut like that today.
You were almost Amish today. I wish I had taken a picture.
So, after the dance, Jerry, I guess on the way back to the cabin or wherever they're going, he stopped at the old go-karts that they had kind of taken apart.
Right.
Because, we've kind of forgot to mention that when Tony Perkins came in,
Fun went
all
away.
the fun stopped. They stabbed the blob to deflate it.
Right.
They get rid of the go-karts.
Yeah.
They got rid of all that shit.
They got rid of anything that wasn't running and sliding on a weird icy board.
So Jerry goes and he passes the go-kart track on the way to wherever he's going. He's sitting there. He's kind of just sulking. This go-kart with no engine.
Pat comes by and they have a little heart-to-heart.
Yeah. And Jerry says, he really wanted to ride. He thought he could at least ride the go-karts. He's always been slow his entire life. He just, for once, wanted to be fast.
Right.
Pat, being the good guy he is, just decides there's a handlebar or a roll bar on the back of the go-kart. He just starts pushing him around the track.
Yeah.
They go around the track and they show Julie looking at Pat, and she's like, "Oh, I could have his babies."
That was the look. That was the I could have his babies look.
We could start a family. He's a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
nailed it.
And would you say that Pat unknowingly is out kicking his coverage right now while Julie's watching?
What?
She's kind of not in his league, so he's out kicking his coverage.
Why isn't she in his league? Because he's overweight?
He's overweight. She's... Like, people who are about the same attractiveness usually gravitate towards each other. Sometimes not. I'm way younger than you are, but...
You're not. You're so full of shit.
But I'm trying to think of another example, but...
Angelina Jolie and...
Billy Bob Thornton?
Yes. That's a pretty good example.
That's an iffy one, because up until a certain point, Angelina Jolie was all everybody talked about, and then something happened.
She's still a whole lot prettier than him. He's a damn troll.
Damn troll. Dude, okay, while we're talking about him, we are definitely going to do Sling Blade at some point. Mm-hmm. Like...
I think it was when she was with him that she started falling off a little bit, because she started wearing like the vial of his blood in a necklace.
That was about then. But then she had like, I don't know if
she had a resurgence.
Like she lost a ton of weight, which she didn't have a ton to lose. Like, and you would see pictures and be like, please somebody let her finish a meal. Like,
well, you know what's going on in her life. She might have been sick or something. But then she had a resurgence with like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She was like peak attractiveness. Apparently enough to steal Brad Pitt away.
Can you blame him?
Yes.
Who was he dating?
He was married to Jennifer Aniston.
Everybody knows any two people from Hollywood that marry each other, that shit isn't going to last at all.
Now, they're kind of doing something now. They got a little flirtiness going on. Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt. He bought, like, the house that they lived in when they were married. Like, they sold when they got divorced, and he bought it last year and gave it to her as a birthday present. It was like $56 million.
Now, did he do that out of the kindness of his heart because she liked that house? Or did he do it and be like, fuck you?
No, it was like, it was always her dream house, and he bought it back for her and gave it to her for her birthday.
What? Here's my question.
And then they've been seen, like, at award shows and events, like, just, like, not, like, together, but, like, oh, you.
So, you think that there was some hostilities in the beginning of that
end
of that relationship?
Fucking cheated on her.
But, listen, hear me out. He has since, like, cooler heads have prevailed, and she's not as mad as him anymore. He's not mad at her. He's like, you know, I kind of fucked this up.
Right. I think
she really liked that house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that neither one of us could have it.
All right, I think she's married now.
I think that happens too much when people, like, sometimes you just gotta call it for what it is. And if you're not into each other, you're just not into each other. That's all it was. Like, just go your separate ways. Be civil.
Oh, She was married to Justin Theroux, but this says separated in 2017, so... But if you're going to go your separate ways, you need to go your separate ways before you go your fucking way with another woman. Because there wouldn't be a $56 million house to buy me for my birthday, because I'd have burnt that shit down with you inside it.
Now, this could be used as evidence.
Publicly cheat on me, and I don't care.
So it's okay if I privately do it?
No, but I'm just saying, like, she was not just heartbroken. She was very publicly embarrassed. Like, they weren't trying to hide it or nothing.
That's... Maybe they were trying to hide. I don't remember.
Then they're dumb.
But... How did we get on this?
People, Julie is hotter than Pat.
Oh. So Pat is...
We went a ways.
Yeah. Pat is out kicking his coverage. But she see it like... She seemed like a nice person from the get-go when she got there anyway.
Right.
But she's seeing him like be a mentor to this kid, and he's pushing him around this go-kart track, and he did a lap, and he's pushing him uphill, downhill,
Yeah.
and they perform this crash scene, and he's obviously just tired because Jerry's like, "Oh my God, let's do it again." So he's like, "All right." It's like, when I catch my breath. Like next summer.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the night, Josh comes back, and he's kind of not all there. He's doing some weird
His
stuff.
eyes are fluttering. He won't really talk to anybody.
Yeah. And Jerry's in front of him. Jerry's getting frustrated because he's not like able to communicate with him right. And he's like, "I'm Jerry, you know me." And that's weird because Jerry just met this dude the day before he gets kicked out. And he kind of like barely touches his face a little bit. He's like, "Jerry." And then he touches Roy's face a little bit. And then he's like, "It must be good to see my fat ass again." And he's fine because Perkins tried to send him home without a refund. His parents threw a fit.
Right.
His lawyers are his dad's apparently a lawyer, and
He was
they let him back
faking
in.
a lobotomy.
Yeah. And one of the kids like,
The
I liked
English
him better.
kid.
I liked him better with the lobotomy.
Yeah. Well, he seems, I guess he's their friend, it's fine, but he seems kind of like a dick. Like he would be a dick in his everyday life.
When Sims was up in the window telling him he had a nosebleed again.
Like,
He's got high blood pressure or something.
He seems like he would be a dick in everyday life, which is probably a coping mechanism he developed at school to deal with people fat shaming him.
Oh, I really liked, to take it back to the beginning where Jerry comes into the chipmunk house or cabin the first time, and one of the kids kind of, it lets Josh know something, and he was like, I like, or something like that. But he has like, it was like one of those, like the stereotypical Italian boss kind of deals. But he stands up, he's got this this black Adidas tracksuit. Was it Adidas?
I don't know.
It was either Adidas or Nike.
He was a little Tony
He was
Soprano.
like, this I like.
Yeah.
And he stood up, and he kind of, Pat tries to introduce him to Jerry. He kind of comes over as like the lead guy.
He does seem like he might be in charge.
So he runs the chipmunks, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of played into that, like a kid having to deal with large groups of people. Oh, he said when he's talking about his parents, his dad threatened to sue. He's like, and then Perkins caved like the Bills in the Super Bowl. And I was like, oh.
Timely joke.
But I think 4 years in a row, the Bills actually made it to the Super Bowl and lost every single one of them.
I didn't really like football back then. I couldn't tell you.
But you can relate because the Braves made it to the National Championship League game or League Series for 14 times and lost every single one of them and didn't make it to the World Series in that time span.
I have no recollection of that.
Ah, but you don't.
So, after Josh comes back, they decide, he asks, "How are we situated here?" And it was like he took it all. Like,
There's not a
he
gummy bear in the whole camp.
Yeah, so he's like, "We're gonna go find our fucking candy, bitches. Saddle up."
He said, what did he say? How we fixed on supplies?
Mm-hmm.
So they make this plan to go get this confiscated candy.
Right.
Like this asshole didn't throw it away. Like, guarantee he just threw it away. But they have a plan. I guess Purkis goes for his morning run. Now, Purkis is basically dressed up in a warm-up suit that fits like a wetsuit.
He looks like the 1980s women workout tape leaders.
Yeah.
And like the spandex top and bottom and like crinkled up socks. Like he looks like that.
He has a Walkman strapped to his side like a pager, but it is a tape Walkman.
Yeah.
Which really takes you back. Because we were on the middle of the tapes, middle to late stage of tapes, and then in the early 90s CDs started coming.
Right.
But I thought that was weird because you just don't see that anymore.
Well, he doesn't really have any money. Like, he bought this camp, but he said if he doesn't pre-sell like 500,000 units of this workout tape shit he's making, he's not going to make it. And then later, spoiler alert, you found out the dad actually bought the camp. So he doesn't have any money. So he's just rolling with the tape player.
Yeah.
But while he's out on the run, they're going to break into his office and get their candy.
Let's go back to how he looks, because you said, you described it right with the 1980s workout video women thing.
Uh-huh.
At one point, he has a water bottle strapped to the side of his calf with two straps, and I thought that was the weirdest shit ever.
Huh. Yeah, I've never seen a water bottle there.
Yeah.
So they're finding the candy.
They're trying to.
They sneak in through a window. The nosebleed kid's going to be the lookout.
Sims.
They divide up the rooms, they start tearing it up. They find a trunk, and they're like, it has to be in here. Jerry, like, thwacks the lock off with a paddle, and it's not the candy, it's all the letters they've written to home.
Yeah, so he's keeping them from communicating with their families.
Which is a hell of a felony, right? Like, after you've addressed it and put a stamp on it, you can't, right? Like, isn't that... I
don't know about felony, but just not right.
At what point does it become U.S. mail? I feel like the stamp signifies this is now U.S. mail and you are now tampering with the mail. Because they were open. Like, they were open and he was reading them. Also, you know you're treating these kids unfairly if you won't let them communicate with their parents.
Oh, yeah.
And did nobody's parents wonder?
I don't know. Well, Jerry tried to call at one point. He used a payphone.
Yeah. You're right. His dad told him to fuck off.
Yeah. Suck it up, basically.
But so after they can't find the candy, he comes back. They have to sneak back out the window like very last second. The little English kid, Nicholas, farts trying to get out the window. And he just stopped, like, Tony's in the house. Just stops, like, sniffing the air, and he can't figure out where, like, this mystery fart came from.
Keep this in your mind for here in a minute.
Okay. But they get away, they run into this bathroom where a kid is eating a cheeseburger on the toilet.
Well, after they get away and they run around, they're all catching their breath. They're outside of, like you said, the bathrooms. Right. And it looks like the bathrooms that would be in, like, a state park. Like, just like a little square building around the woods. And Jerry hears the hamburger paper wrapper. Yeah. He's like, hold up. Shh. He's like, food wrappers. And he fucking leads him into the bathroom. And the world's most awkward stall because you can't see your face, but if he had pulled his pants down, you could see from the waist down in that toilet, no problem.
Yeah.
So they open the door. He's eating a Whopper.
He's eating some kind of
burger. Cheeseburger. It looked real good.
It did look good. I don't even eat beef, and it looked good.
So he's like, they're like, "Where'd you get it?" Whatever, they yell at him, and he's like, "I'll tell you." So then you have this
sketch ass guy doing supply drops in the woods and a hollow log in the middle of the night.
There's a hollowed out tree stump where they shaved the top off and made it into a lid. Mm-hmm. They put their money in their order in. He picks it up, and presumably the next night he'll pick up the new orders, drop the old orders off. And he's making so much money.
Even Pat put in an order.
Pat had 3 bags of some kind of like burger joint.
But deal. Dude, how much money did these kids' parents send them to camp with?
Seemed like a pretty good bit.
Yeah.
So then you have the midpoint weigh-ins.
Right.
Which is one of the funniest things.
It is the beginning of the end for old Tony's mental state.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's the beginning of the end. It's the end of the end.
The end of the end.
Because his mental state has been going for a while. Yeah. So he weighs the kid with the swaggy hair that had the hamburger. He weighs him first. He gained 2 pounds.
Right.
And he's like, "That's all right.
Muscle weighs more than fat.
Muscle weighs more than fat will decrease your food intake and increase your metabolic activity."
Right.
Moves on. He weighs Gerald. Or Jerry. Mm-hmm. Jerry gets gained 9 pounds. So right. Jerry now weighs 150 pounds.
He's like, "Turn off the camera."
No.
He does.
No.
Yes.
Because Josh is next.
No.
Yeah, because Josh, he gets mad that Jerry...
No, he said, he tells him to turn off the camera twice.
Oh, yeah.
He turns off the camera and he yells at Jerry. And then...
Yeah, then he has him turn it back
on. And then he's like, "Okay, alright, turn the camera back on." And then... he weighs Josh, and
as soon as Josh gets on the scale, he doesn't even say a number.
The 100 thing down to the 2, like the big block on the scale.
He's just like, "Get on the scale," moves it, get off the scale.
Yeah, it has him turn off the camera again, and then he has to go over to the corner, and he has a talk. Tony
with himself.
Has a talk with little Tony.
Not his penis, by the way.
And when I say talk, I mean out loud. Like, he's like, What's bothering you, buddy?" And then little Tony is like, "They just won't lose weight." He's like, "Yeah, but it's not your fault, buddy." He's like, "I know, it's their fault." Like a full-on out loud fucking conversation with himself. Like he shouldn't be allowed to be around children, let alone in charge of them.
Yeah, he has this full-on meltdown.
Yeah, and decides that they're going to go on a 20-mile hike tomorrow.
And Pat is like, dude, 20 miles? Like these...
Yeah, they're kids.
These kids don't hike.
Yeah.
20 miles, they're gonna die.
Yeah, like he tries to defend him, and Tony just mocks him. And it made me mad that Julie, who is a nurse and kind of likes Pat,
didn't stand up for him.
Didn't help him. Didn't come to his aid at all. Like, dude. You know these kids shouldn't be doing a 20-mile hike. I mean, he still might not have listened to her, but she should have said something. Even later, Jerry was like, "Nobody supported you. Like, at least you stood up for us. Yeah. Nobody else." And he's like,
"We should have stood up." So Jerry's outside by the dock sitting there. No, Pat. Mm-hmm. Pat's outside the dock sitting there, kind of doing the whole sulking thing. Jerry comes out there and they start talking about it. Jerry's like, "Nobody, you stood up for us, but we should have stood up for you, blah, blah, blah."
Right.
So, like, when are we going to start sticking up for ourselves? And
well, before that, Pat tells him that he doesn't want to be fat anymore. And what it must be like to be one of the camp MVP people. And he was like, "But they're assholes."
Yeah, he's like, "You're assholes. Nice. You don't want
to be one of those people." And he was like, "No, but I don't really want to be this anymore either." Yeah. So he has his own, like, realization or whatever.
Yeah. So, like, we're going to start sticking up for ourselves.
Right. Jerry says, "All right, let's go get everyone and kick his ass."
And Pat's like, no.
Which, I mean, to be fair, all those little fat kids versus this one guy, they could take him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's not like Joe Rogan where he's like, "I can definitely fuck up 10, 12-year-olds.
Yeah. No chance. We wouldn't have a chance.
So, they start out the hike and...
he says it's a cleansing hike, so there will be no food at all allowed on this 20-mile hike.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, you gonna have to give me a granola bar or something.
All right, so they start out on this hike. They show the kids. They have like full on. They're not just like just taking a walk. They have all their gear.
Yeah.
These huge bags on. They're huffing and puffing. At one point they're going up the hill, and Tony has the world's worst retelling of the whole Icarus story.
Right, he gets two stories confused and blended.
Yeah, so he has Atlas.
It's
Not Atlas.
Sisyphus.
Sisyphus fucked up with Icarus. So Sisyphus rolls the ball up the hill.
Right.
He can't get it up. He lets it go down. He's constantly doing that. Icarus flew too close to the sun, and his wings...
The wax on his wings melted. Right.
So he tells the kids that Icarus... They are just like Icarus, and...
You have to keep pushing the ball up the hill until it gets too close to the sun and melts. Or catches fire. He
said, "What you guys are like Icarus, and you're not putting enough work in," and his ball melted. Mm-hmm. He said, but it didn't make sense.
No, it was bad.
See, he's definitely like when he introduced himself. He said when he was 11 years old, he weighed 319 pounds. Mm-hmm. But you definitely he was always homeschooled by tutors. He had never even come in contact with other kids because he said, I hope I enjoy my first contact with kids or something like that. But he was just like one of those little rich, snotty kids, probably.
How are you going to make an exercise workout plan for kids if you've never come in contact with one?
This is how.
Oh.
This is the documentary of how this goes.
But so it kind of goes back and forth between the counselors that are left at camp trying to come up with a plan and them on their hike.
Yeah. At one point,
you find out that that Tony owes the cameraman that's been filming all of this $600.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck yeah, he's got all the bad stuff on that tape. We can get the tape. He'll be on our side. That'll show everybody what a dick this asshole is.
So they get to a stopping point in the hike, and there's a big, huge rock, and they're all one of them's like, we should just push him over.
No jury in the world would convict us.
And one of the kids is like, nah, it's too messy. We'll find a different one.
I mean, truthfully,
they could all just be like, he slipped.
Yeah, absolutely. The only issue is that there's too many of them. You're not going to get that many kids or people on board. Boy, I'm coming off real bad in this. You're not going to get that many people on board with a murder conspiracy.
So you thought about this before.
You're not going to get that many people on board with a murder conspiracy. And even if you get them to agree to it now, they're not all going to stand strong on it. Like, somebody's going to tell something. Like, nobody's going to stay to the story. Somebody's going to get confused. Somebody's going to fuck up. Somebody's going to, like, regret it later and out themselves in AA because they have a drinking problem that they picked up when they threw this guy off a cliff. Like, it's not going to work out with that many people. So I guess the moral of my story is if you're going to commit murder, do it by yourself.
Yeah. Anytime.
I swear I'm a good person. I just watch a lot of TV.
So Tony's doing his almost like a Tai Chi deal. Mm-hmm. And he looks dead on if Rambo fucked Karate Kid. Like, that is the whole vibe of that whole scene. Because he's got Rambo's silhouette and hair. Mm-hmm. And then the Karate Kid training montage thing going on. But he hears one of the kids say something. He kind of goes a little bit nuts and jumps off on that branch.
The kid says something about he wants to have fun. We're supposed to be having fun.
Oh, he's like, you want to have fun? Let's have fun. And runs out and jumps on that branch and starts doing...
Jumps off the cliff and onto a branch and starts doing gymnastics and then springs back. And he was like, y'all are next. I was like, what?
Then one kid's like, we need a break.
He was like, yeah, he says that they're going to take an hour meditation break and then they're going to climb the 1,000-foot rock wall free-handed.
Bare feet and hands.
Yeah. So they have to come up with a plan. A self-defense plan, really, because he's going to get all these children murdered.
Yeah. So while he's doing his thing, they come up with a plan. Now, how they started this, was genius. Because they're like, he's trying to do his meditation thing, and they're having a fake argument.
Yeah.
And they're just being loud
No,
to
you
annoy
can't.
him.
Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
So that nobody had to be like, hey, come here. They made him come there on his own.
Right.
So they come up with this plan that Jerry says that you can't do sit-ups if you can't see and can't hear.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, you can. And they're like, no, you can't.
Jerry says you can't.
Jerry says you can. He's like, let me show you. So he lays down, they blindfold him, and Josh stands in front of him, pulls his pants down, just has his ass hanging out in front of him. They're like, okay, and as it comes up, one of the kids takes the blindfold off, and he's like, oh my God, and just assaults this
He
kid.
chops him in the knee so he falls down.
So Josh takes off running through the woods, and it's hard for me to believe that old Perkins system can't catch him. But he runs through the woods, and Josh runs around something and stops.
Says he can't. Hamstring.
Yeah, and Tony Perkins mentions something about people not stretching, blah blah blah. He takes one step forward and falls into a hole that these kids did not dig in 1 hour.
No, it was already there because Nicholas almost fell in it, and Jerry grabs him and saves him.
Yes.
Yeah, so they just knew it was there.
So this is feasible.
Yeah.
Now, Jerry comes back to camp, and the two counselors and the nurse, they're still trying to come up with something. He's all dirty, sweaty, and there's like, we're working on something to do. He's like, oh, we already took care of it.
It was like, oh, we came up with a plan of our own. And the nurse goes, oh, isn't that sweet? And I was like, no, it's not that kind of plan.
So here you think, oh, they left Tony in the hole. Well, Jerry leads them to this barn, and they got Tony Perkins caged up, and they got the cage electrified.
Well, it's not electrified yet at that point. But he is tied.
Oh, yes.
He is tied to a chair and has duct tape over his mouth. And Pat's like, oh my God, guys, we can't do this. This is illegal. And he goes inside and he takes the duct tape off his mouth. And Tony just says some shit about like hitting him in the balls so he can never have kids.
When I get untied, I'm gonna hit you in the balls.
Yeah, right, so you can never have kids. And he just puts it back over his mouth. He's like, I was going to help you, but fuck it. And then they hook the bug zapper up to the cage so that it's electrified, like they untie him from the chair. But at that moment, Pat's like, so are these ropes tied good? Because I know where we have more ropes if we need them.
So it's this day. While Tony's caged up, it also happens to be the parents' day.
Well, before that, they round up all of the other counselors somehow and tie them all to these trees in the woods and then rip their shirt and put honey all over them for the bears.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know how they took down all these, like, grown-ass giant men, but whatever.
Well, like you said, it's a herd of...
I guess.
Pretty portly 12-year-olds.
Yeah. But,
They have
a fucking
party.
blowout. Yeah, they have this huge party. Every fast food delivery person that's ever existed comes in with food. There's like stacks and stacks of pizzas and these party subs and bags and
people have cans of whipped cream and Hershey's chocolate syrup. They're just spraying. It's like Burning Man for fat people.
Yeah,
is what it was.
I don't remember what that movie was a few years ago about like just the huge college party, but it is just that. Like a huge fucking rager just with milk chocolate and fucking whipped cream. Yeah. One of the counselors, Tim, the one that lost all the weight, has like marshmallows.
He probably went the
most
everywhere. Nuts.
Yeah. Like he hasn't had a carb in too long.
And Jerry sees Tim out there. He's like, he looks like a human s'more. He's like, I should get down there. And Joy kind of saves him, like, hey,
yeah,
you should come be with me.
Yeah, like, she did. Because he probably would have been laying naked with him the next morning covered in chocolate.
I want you to fertilize my eggs.
Mm-hmm. So, in the middle of this party, two of them go up to Lars, where he's tied to a tree, and are like, so, we found out some interesting information. I was like, we've taken over the camp. We found out that if you don't have a job, you get deported. So are you with us, or do you want deported? And he's like, I'm with you.
But in my mind, they also kind of did him a favor because they could have just left him there. And
Yeah, but they cut him down, and I realized, like, yes, Tony was the bad guy, Lars was the bad guy. Kids left to their own devices are just terroristic monsters. Like, you can't put a dude in an electrified cage. Like, they do have a hole, they are feeding him, but you can't leave this man kidnapped in this cage. You can't tie people to trees, at least overnight. Like, these kids have committed a bunch of fucking crimes.
But it was all worth it. It was all worth it.
But Lars says he's in. He's with them. But these kids, man, whew.
So, and Lars was kind of in on the food party.
Yeah, he wakes up the next morning with
in the
them.
middle.
So the next morning, everybody just slept out on the lawn. People are, like, shirtless with, like, chocolate and whipped cream and marshmallows and candy, and they've taken, like, peanut butter and done face paint with it. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, everybody's kind of waking up, like, almost like a hangover kind of deal.
Oh, yeah. I have video of our group of friends waking up like that in college. Not with food.
Nope.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So, the next day or so is Parents' Day.
Well, Pat, at that point, he wakes everybody up, and he starts talking about, we're going to do it our way, but I think that this was all a lesson on personal responsibility, and we need to start being responsible for ourselves and our own weight and what we put into our bodies and, you know, the moral of the story.
So he gets them kind of started on the right track from
Right.
that.
And then you see, like, they're going walking, Pat's doing, like, speed walking classes, and Julie's teaching, like, a nutrition cooking class.
Yeah, so
They're
they're doing all
better. But they're also having fun. They've put the go-kart track back. They reinflated and patched up the blob. So it's how it was supposed to be. They have a montage of putting camp back together. But now it's Parents' Day. I know you're very eager to get to Parents' Day.
So the parents come, and everybody's just kind of acting normal. Like, whatever.
Well, Jerry's dad's a dick. Dr. Phil.
Yeah, Dr. Phil Light.
Like, he meets him, and old Dr. Phil's like, oh, you look exactly the same.
So Jerry
And
walks off.
He was like, I feel better. But then he turns to the mom, and he's like,
He hasn't lost a pound.
yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm sure he's paying a lot for this, and he's perturbed, but damn, really?
So they all go into the
Like a mess hall cafeteria.
same place they had the dance. There are all the parents and all the kids are sitting there, and you see the tape go from like the camera guy to one of the counselors to the other to Nurse Julie. She hands it off to Pat. Pat comes up and he's like, it's like, hey, we got a video we'll show you. This is what what it's been like.
Mm-hmm.
And the tape opens up, and Tony is just harassing Josh, like trying to make it like feeding him a line so that they can edit this to make it right.
Well, he's also in kids' faces yelling at him while they're running in the rain and like making them do push-ups with his foot on their back.
Taking meals away.
And then they've also edited it so that the nurse is like giving them warnings. And, at one point, like they catch a
fake a rat and then cut it open and act like they eat it.
Yeah.
Because they're hungry.
He was like, I had to doctor it up a little bit.
So, in the meantime, while they're having this video showing,
they left goddamn Nicholas.
Yeah, Nicholas is guarding the cage that Tony's kept.
Right. I'm assuming because he's English, it was too far for his parents to come to Parents' Day.
Okay, that's probably feasible.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, Tony comes up with a plan to kind of lure Nicholas over. But the whole time he's kind of been talking Nicholas up like he's been a good guard, whatever. Like when he hands him food and all this.
Well, Nicholas falls asleep and he takes his fork and shorts out the bug zapper, so his cage isn't electrified. And then he takes the foil from his baked potato and makes a fake little Hershey's Kiss.
And he lures little Nicholas over there. And he drops it. When Nicholas goes to pick it up, he reaches through the hole in the cage and like
grabs him by the hair.
So he gets out.
Yeah.
And towards the end of this taping show, he, instead of walking through the fucking door, he is on top of a windowsill.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
like second story-ish
second
kinda
story. Like, this
situation.
is a big open kind of
barn
mess hall
situation.
deal. So the windows are very high up, and he's just up there. So he just jumps down and presumably breaks his foot or both of them because he's like, ow.
No. He sticks the landing fine. But he picks up a glass and slams it to the ground.
He stuck the landing a little bit, but he does say ow. Afterwards is when he's yelling at him, he takes a glass and slams it to the ground because I think he likes pain.
He breaks it, and then he walks over the glass, and then he takes another one and breaks it. Like, he does it 2 or 3 times and walks over the glass. And he's giving this speech about how no one can stop him, and Dr. Phil just punches him in the fucking face.
Yeah. I think he punched him in the gut.
He's like, you aren't going to get away with this. You're done.
Like, tries to, like, backflip through the thing, and then...
Yeah, and then he does the backflips, and I
hits his head or something.
Yeah.
So then old Daddy comes out to save him.
Which is an interesting... I mean, is also Ben Stiller, but is an interesting character, right?
Yeah.
But this is where you find out, like, Daddy's paid for this camp, because he's like, oh, I'm going to take a bath on this.
Yeah, so he tells everybody they're going to get a refund, blah, blah, blah.
Just go the hell home.
Go home, and the kids are like, no, we want to stay here. We want to have fun, because they have changed it. Like,
yeah.
They've turned it around. It's fun, and they're learning. So he's like,
yeah,
he's got to put somebody in charge.
Papa don't care. He was like, fine, whoever wants it.
Who's been here the longest? So he puts Pat in charge, and they get to stay there.
Which helped get Pat a little confidence. He said he's been going there for 18 years. Like, you're still a pretty portly gentleman for 18 years.
Yeah.
I feel like he was the original person that hollowed out the bunk beds.
Probably.
He put the hole in the floor.
So then all the kids are happy, and then they go to the Apache relay, which nobody wants to do because they always get beat. Actually, I think they said they've never won.
They've never won.
It's a relay race that has 3 parts. The obstacle course, the Hall of Intelligence, and then the go-kart race.
Right.
And they're against Camp MVP.
Right. So Camp Hope now, as it's been renamed back to the original, are dressed as Native Americans.
And I thought the other ones being dressed as
Camp MVP
Olympians
are dressed as Greeks.
It was weird.
Well, when they played baseball earlier, the coach's shirt has, like, the grape leaves and the crowns. Like, that's their...
But it's weird that it's called the Apache Relay. Like,
well, these people were dressed as Native Americans.
It's weird.
I don't know.
It's where they wouldn't have 2 sets.
I mean, it's all messed up, and it's not anything that would be allowed to happen today, so... It wouldn't be the Apache Relay, and nobody would be dressed as Native Americans.
They go through the obstacle course, and the only thing that really saves them in the obstacle course portion is that there's a part where they have to shave a balloon. And old Josh has been shaving for a couple years now. So
also, Roy wasn't bad at throwing the football through the tire.
No, Roy did a good job there.
And then Nicholas fucking ran through the Hall of Intelligence.
Yeah, he has to... First you gotta name the paintings. No, you had to solve the math equation.
Solve the math equation, name the different paintings, 5 U.S. vice presidents. Yeah.
The 5 U.S. vice presidents would have took me a while to get.
I could have done it, but I didn't know the ones he said.
I could have done it, but it would have taken me a while to think.
Right. Well, but then he turns to, because he's the English one, he turns to the Camp MVP guy, and he's like, you Americans, you know nothing about history.
No, you have no sense of history.
You have no sense of history, and walks away. Also, did you see that Prince Harry and Meghan are tapping out?
What do you mean tapping out?
Said that they're stepping away from royal life and will split their time between England and North America and are looking for ways to become financially independent. While still honoring the Queen and teaching their son about his heritage and where he came from. But, well, I think it's been a lot on her. She's been really ripped apart publicly. Which is a lot.
But you knew it was going to happen.
But it's a lot when you're not born royal or even English. Like, she's not even from there at all.
Well, that's probably, it's the whole, this person's different from us, she doesn't belong kind of deal.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it would get old, but you have to know going into the, hey, if I'm going to marry this guy and be involved in this family, which is one of the most talked about families on the face of the earth.
Yeah. I just feel bad for her. Like, they're very, not them, but she's very, and I think that tabloid journalism is extra awful over there. Like, it's American tabloid
There's no
journalism.
way it could be worse.
Yeah, it's worse than it is here. And I think he has a real fear of that. And I don't know, and I know that we have listeners from over there, so I'm sorry if I'm getting all this wrong. But I think he has a real fear of that because that's 100% what killed his mom. And now it's 100% happening to her. You know? It's very sad. Anyway, how did we get here? Oh, because Nicholas is the grand champion of smarts.
So they leave the Hall of Intelligence, which they have to skip from there to the go-karts.
Yeah, it was really weird when it was just, like, when Nicholas was ahead and he was skip, I was like, are you just happy, motherfucker? Run! Yeah. And then the other guy started skipping too, and I was like, okay, alright.
So they get to the go-karts about the same time, and Pat's warning Jerry that, watch this guy, he drives dirty, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, he does. He's a douche.
So they take off, but it was weird how they started, because the other guy beats Nicholas by like a second towards the end of their skip along. But Jerry takes off first. Because for whatever reason, they waited till they got there to start the go-karts.
Yeah.
So Jerry takes off, and he's got the lead for a while. And eventually they're coming around a tree, and the guy just kind of pushes Jerry from the inside to the outside.
Didn't it all seem very dangerous? Like, they're doing this around the lake, and at one point over, like, a bridge of the lake.
Yeah.
Like,
and the bridge was just wide enough to...
Yeah. It seemed very dangerous for children. Especially with this guy fucking pushing everybody.
But earlier, Pat tells Jerry that he worked on the engine, and they have, like, a little extra.
It has the propeller that they stole from Camp MVP's boat.
So they're coming up on the last straightaway. There's a little kind of a hill and a jump, and the other guy took it at normal speed. Jerry's like, "Screw this!" He pushes the lever down and gives the go-kart a little more oomph, and jumps and lands kind of on top of the other guy's go-kart, and he ends up winning, and they win the whole thing.
Right.
The Camp MVP coach is mad, saying they're going to protest it or whatever. And Pat's like, oh, your whole life is based on this trophy, and he holds it up. And I thought he was just going to rub it in his face. He gives it to Sims, and they fucking toss it in the lake.
He's like, here, I'll air mail it back to you. And he gives it to him. He's like, take care of that for me, would you? And he just, like, shot puts it
into the lake.
And they jump in the lake and swim after it.
They lost that shit.
They lost.
How are they going to protest?
I don't know, illegal equipment.
Some people just can't lose.
And who are you going to protest to? This shit ain't like a sanctioned event.
So,
but he tosses the trophy and then grabs Julie and kisses her.
Yeah.
Calls her my girl.
My girl.
And then the movie ends.
So the movie ends, you go to the credits, and at the very end of the credits, motivational asshole is selling crystals door to door. But he doesn't like to call them crystals. They're transformational facilitators.
Okay.
But that was kind of funny. It's like he's like a spoiled rich kid, but he has the motivation to kind of do stuff.
Nope. Never mind.
What?
Nope.
What? Tell me.
He's kind of a lot like, and I'm probably going to cut this out. He's kind of a lot like these women who sell more than one
pyramid scheme.
Yes. Well, I didn't want to say pyramid scheme, but yeah.
They are pyramid schemes.
They're mid-level marketing now.
AKA
they've been rebranded.
Pyramid schemes.
Multi-level marketing, which is a pyramid. But that's what... And some people do make good money from it. Like, I know a girl who's paid off all of her credit card debt and is completely debt-free, but she also sells, like, the cookware and the It Works pills, some kind of jewelry. Like, she sells, like, 4 or 5 of these MLMs, which is a
you're
lot.
Abbreviating them now.
And I think that they all require a sizable startup fee as well.
But you also
it is working for her, and it does work for some people, but more often than not, it doesn't work for people. It crushes them in debt and unwanted product.
Yeah.
No, I don't begrudge anybody that does it. Like, if it works for you, if you want to try it, that's great. Go make your money. I'm not trying to be rude or hurtful or insulting in any way. But that's what he's like.
Yeah. Only without, like, any success at all.
Right. Or heart. So, as a 90s villain, I thought he was
pretty good. But he got jacked for this movie. Ben Stiller did.
I'm not sure if I've seen Dodgeball.
What? You had to have seen.
But they said that he's just this exact same character in Dodgeball.
I think so. Pretty much.
Yeah. They said that they could consider this a prequel to Dodgeball. But I really don't think I've seen Dodgeball. Because he aggravates me in a lot of shit.
A lot of people say aggravate.
Will Ferrell used to aggravate me in everything he's ever been in, and he still does in some stuff. But also, like, Old School is one of my favorite comedies.
Old School. You wouldn't watch Talladega Nights for a while, but it's funny.
I like Talladega Nights.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So,
did we get all the rips?
No. There's Joseph Wayne Miller, who died last year of sleep apnea, and Ben Stiller's mom, and Mira.
Is that it?
Yep.
Is Goldberg still alive? The kid played Josh.
Everybody else is alive.
He's Goldberg in Mighty Ducks.
A lot of these kids are in Mighty Ducks. It was co-written by Judd Apatow. Said that on his first date with who is now his wife, he showed her this movie trying to impress her. I thought that was weird.
This is a weird one to start with.
Yeah, like, she's an actress too. It just seems like a weird thing to, I don't know, try to impress her with. So, you want to take a shot at the...
the tomatometer?
Uh-huh.
I would say the critics probably shat all over this.
Oh, yeah. The critic score and the audience score are far apart.
Alright. I'm going to guess on the audience score.
Okay.
70.
77.
Ooh. Do
you want to take a stab at the critics?
I actually saw it Googling something else. It was like 29.
29.
Hold on. We need to come up with a precursor to the reviews. Like saying, alright, now we're going to do reviews.
Okay, so you want to hear some reviews?
Alright, terrible reviews.
Terrible reviews.
Hold on, we need a word that starts with an R.
Rotten. They kind of got that.
Ratchet reviews.
Okay.
Alright, Ratchet reviews.
Ratchet reviews, because 1-star reviews are funnier than 5. And I screen cap them ahead of time, and I'm just noticing that this one says Bill Stiller and not Ben Stiller, which is why I was like, Okay, so 1 star. Bill Stiller is one of the most obnoxious roles, but I did like seeing him yell at fat kids.
Wow.
I will always love Kenan Thompson in things, although I'm fairly certain he's never said anything funny in his entire career.
What?
Turns out the only thing Paul Feig, I don't know, I always get it wrong, is worse at than directing is acting.
Who wrote this?
Wood.
Alright, Wood. First, you didn't get his name right, so you weren't paying enough attention at all. But to say that Kenan Thompson's not funny or has never said anything funny is just bullshit.
He hasn't been on SNL for 45 years for nothing.
Black don't crack.
He been making me laugh since Good Burger.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
You know? Yeah.
All that.
Mighty Ducks.
Was Keenan in Mighty Ducks?
Keenan was in Mighty Ducks?
Are you sure?
Fuck yeah.
What?
Now I gotta fucking Google it before I'm wrong publicly. He was in D2. It counts. But yeah. I disagree with everything he said in this entire thing.
Yes. I mean, he got the name. How do you get Ben Stiller's name wrong?
I don't know. This one's a very short review. 1.5 stars. Kinda uncomfortable.
Okay.
I think they had to
That
just
was
been kind of
probably
uncomfortable.
a kid that was fat and just fat camp part made him uncomfortable.
It looks like a very tiny girl.
Avatars do not matter.
I guess.
I could be a 95-pound furry from Pittsburgh. To anybody I tell that.
You know, the only place I've ever seen a furry is in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is a wild place, y'all.
But I've seen furries in Pittsburgh more than once.
We parked at a parking garage on the way to a baseball game to see the Cubs play the Pirates. On the same weekend, I guess there was a furry convention,
yeah.
And apparently they check in like that. They're going 100%
Yeah,
from the get-go.
But I've seen furries in Pittsburgh at another time as well, just 2 or 3 of them walking down the street. And I was like, this is a weird fucking city.
But
Adam Cooper.
All right, Adam, what you got?
2 stars.
Oh, how nice.
Not entirely sure what the message is here. Germans are bad. Childhood obesity is aight. AIGHT.
Oh. All right, Adam.
Paul Feig is a far better director than actor or dancer? Beats me, but I did guffaw at the one kid with a briefcase full of chocolate. I feel like anybody that says guffaw is a douche. He also just abbreviated chocolate. CHOC.
That is not I.
It's not I.
All right. Adam.
It's not trying to say childhood obesity is alright anyway, because they learn that lesson. Like, Pat tells them after they've had their binge,
like, hey, this was wrong.
Like, they learn about personal responsibility, and they want to stay there and lose weight. Like, they want to do the exercise. Yeah. Like, they could have tapped out and went home right then.
Got anything to top Adam?
2 stars. Jordan. I tried to enjoy this, but the excessive cheesiness and derivative plot left me bored and hoping it would end. The jokes don't make up for the film's failures. I mean, it is cheesy, but it's a 90s Disney movie.
Yep.
Disney exclusively trafficked in cheesy in the 90s, especially with their live action stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I have one 5-star review. Do you have a different segment name other than Ratchet Review? Do you have a positive review segment name? I just wanted to highlight the other side.
I just tacked on it in the Ratchet Reviews.
Alright, 5 stars. One of my all-time favorite comedies. This is pure 90s gold. There is a million funny lines. The kid actors do a great job. Ben Stiller plays the best comedy villain ever in Tony Perkis. Lars is hysterical. I could go on and on. I'll watch this anytime. I don't care if it's a family movie or cheesy in parts. It's hilarious. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, it's cheesy.
It's pretty funny.
But it's funny.
I mean, you're not gonna roll on the floor or laughing, but whoever that was made a good point about the
Henry.
Kids.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when you have like kids movies like this, you can kind of tell like the kid is being coached through something, but they all seemed kind of fluid, more fluid. Wasn't as stop motiony or glitchy.
Now, apparently, this movie was almost rated PG-13 because of excessive use of language that is not found in a Disney movie.
That would probably be Josh's. I bet you're glad to see my big ass.
Probably. But it is PG. I'm out of reviews, but I do have its budget and box office if you want those numbers. I know you like them. So, its budget was
$8 million.
$8 million. It was very hard to find its budget. Opening weekend, it did just over $6 million.
What was the total? Like 17?
Its total was $17,671,000.
So they doubled up.
Yeah, and I found this website that gives you the adjusted for inflation. So in today's dollars, that would have been over $37 million.
Just kind of, I look more at how much they spent versus how much they made.
Right.
And I get they probably made some on the back end with the Disney Plus. So we did shout out to Disney Plus. We didn't have to buy this one today.
Oh, we paid.
I mean, we paid, but we
got it free with my DuckTales subscription.
Yeah, basically. DuckTales and The Simpsons, even though The Simpsons are on 2 different channels all day, every day.
They're not on Wednesdays.
They're not on Wednesdays. The fuck's going on Wednesdays?
Wednesdays and Saturdays, they're not on. And I like to fall asleep to them. Shut up.
You do. When I go to bed with you, it's no phones, TV off.
Right.
When I don't go to bed, at the same time you go to bed, it's The Simpsons.
Right. Well, they're comforting, and there might be monsters under my bed. I don't know.
There's nothing under the bed.
I don't know. Our nephew is intensely terrified of our room, and if he goes upstairs by himself, he asks if he can close the door so nothing can sneak up on him. And I think he started to convince me that there might be a monster in our room. Like, he knows we are keeping a monster, a demon, and we're keeping it in our room.
So what would you give it?
For what it is, I'll give it like a 4, 4.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're gonna weigh it against great movies, it's like a 2. But if we're gonna...
Damn, why'd you gotta do it like that?
If we're gonna grade it for, like, being a 90s Disney movie, they executed it perfectly.
I would say 3.5.
This is your fucking movie!
I like it. You give it 3.5. That's much better than average.
Damn, alright.
I mean, you gotta be up there. You gotta be like...
Not everything is Varsity Blues. It's really weird that your 2 favorite movies are Varsity Blues and Tombstone, and they could not be further apart on all levels.
Probably have to do Tombstone soon.
You really enjoy theming your movies around things. So I don't know if there's like a Wild West season coming up or something.
OK Corral Shootout was in October, so I don't think I can wait that long to do it. I looked it up.
Oh, cracked me up. I think I might do Fear sometime around Valentine's Day. I think the week after Valentine's Day is my pick. I think I'm going to do it then.
You want to trade?
Nah, it's fine. Cautionary tale. But a lot of kids in this are also in Mighty Ducks. And we need to do it soon as well. But we need to watch the Mighty Ducks soon too. I haven't watched the fucking Mighty Ducks. My mom and stepdad. I had a stepbrother and stepsister. We had the VHS copy of Mighty Ducks. And we watched the absolute dog shit out of it. Like, all the time. Typically, my stepsister, who was the youngest, always wanted to watch it. But we watched it about 1.5 billion times.
I wouldn't peg her for Mighty Ducks.
1.5 billion times. Oddly enough, Mighty Ducks and Ghost. And Homeward Bound. Those were like her 3 all the time in rotation.
We had a lot of Homeward Bound.
And I haven't seen it since then, but I can like remember watching the Mighty Ducks in that living room. Like, my stepdad was very like anti-germ, cleanliness. Everything had its place, like, slightly on the OCD scale. So there was this blanket that we kept under the couch. I'm just dropping all the family secrets. Secret time. We had this blanket we kept under the couch. And you could have a snack in the living room, but it had to be eaten in the floor on the blanket. And then you had to clean the blanket and fold it and put it back under the couch. But his kids' snacks were always very weird. Like, Cheetos dipped in peanut butter.
Ugh.
Or
No.
slices of Colby cheese, which I like now, but as like a child, I didn't.
I would never guess you didn't like Colby cheese.
I did, but it's a weird snack
it's
for
the
a little
one-
kid, right?
It's the one thing, like, if I go buy the case and they have, like, a bunch of it cut up already,
Yeah.
I'll grab it. I'll eat some of it.
They would
but I'll
buy,
grab
like,
it for
the
you.
Longhorn Colby cheese, and you had to go in there with the cheese cutter, like, the fucking little wire blade, and, like, slice this huge thing yourself. It was fucking wild for a little child. But we would all get our little plates with our little snacks and sit on this blanket and watch the fucking Mighty Ducks. I can smell it when I think about it.
So, a lot of the kid sports movies, there's a lot of good ones. Little Giants for football.
Oh, Devon Sawa!
Sandlot for baseball. Mighty Ducks for hockey. Is there a little kids basketball movie?
Teen Wolf? Air
No.
Bud?
That's for puppies.
That's for puppies.
Can't think of one.
Not for kids.
Not for kids, yeah. I was thinking about doing a basketball movie for March Madness.
Okay.
Might do either Above the Rim or He Got Game.
White Men Can't Jump.
Oh, that was a good one too.
I wonder why there were no basketball movies. Basketball just grittier?
That's weird.
I don't know.
I mean, there are there's all kinds of other basketball
Dude.
movies.
So our nephew, super into basketball. So I showed him Teen Wolf the other day.
The movie or the TV show?
I didn't even know there was a TV show.
Yeah, don't.
Anyway, the movie. It's raunchier than hell. Like, they do like a 7 minutes in heaven situation, but also they just take this girl, like,
What's the 7 minutes in heaven?
Like where you go in the closet?
I wasn't.
Aww.
Somebody was a naughty teenager.
I'm sorry. Kind of like Spin the Ball, but to the next level where you go in the closet with somebody for 7 minutes.
Heathen.
Anyway, while that's happening, this other girl's just completely topless and they're just like eating whipped cream out of her tits.
I don't remember that part of that movie.
No, neither did I, sitting on the couch with him going, oh my god, like, how do I turn this off? Or do I, like, get in front? Like, what do I cover his eyes? Like, yeah.
Look away. Look away.
Yeah, it was awkward. I didn't remember that at all.
I don't remember that.
Mm-mm. I'm so sorry you don't know what 7 minutes in heaven is.
Man, it's not like I was missing out on molesting a preteen girl or whatever.
It's not molestation when you're a preteen boy.
Still, it seems kind of weird. Doesn't seem fully consensual.
It was. It was a wild time, man.
No, but I feel like in that situation, if one or both parties don't want to do it, they are not coerced by each other, but by the group.
Well, you don't have to do anything. You can go in the fucking closet and just fucking stand there. Yeah, that's why you're in the closet. Nobody knows what you did. Or didn't do.
That's weird. It sounds like that was made up by a pedophile.
Made up by Uncle Touchy across the street with his mailbox issues.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta end this thing.
Alright, so you gave it...
I gave it 4 stars for what it is.
And then if you were rating it without saying it's a 90s
If I was
Disney-
just rating it based on a movie, 2.5.
Wow, you went low.
It's a good
You
movie.
even said
but
you liked it.
I do like it. And for a 90s Disney movie, it's great. But I mean, I'm not going to stack it up next to, I don't know, good movies.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. I also want a DNA test because I'm pretty sure that Pat is his dad.
That's definitely, I mean, they probably did it on purpose to
They
kind
even
of
have the
say...
same damn haircut. Yeah, I'm sure it was like a foreshadowing situation, but... Alright, so next week what we gonna do?
This is my movie.
Oh, fuck me.
I thought you said My Girl.
So next week, we are going to do My Girl. It's going to be fully transparent. We're going to redo My Girl. Because we did it all the way through.
It is a lost episode.
There are 2 lost episodes.
Fern Gully.
And that is one of them. We recorded it and then my computer was like, haha, no you didn't, bitch. So, we will be re-recording that next week.
Alright, that's been Run It Back for Heavyweights. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah. You can follow us on our social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram at Run It Back Pod, on Twitter at Pod Run It Back, and we have a newly made TikTok that I still haven't, as of time of filming, haven't put stuff on, but by the time of release, I'm hoping to have some videos on there. It is at Run It Back Pod.
I think I'm about to steal. Body!